Hi cooking cronies. Today I'm going to make a red chili chicken enchilada casserole. So I went to King Super this morning and they had rotisserie chickens on sale 2 for $10. So they're 2 pounds a piece. So I purchased 2 and I'm going to start making my red chili. Okay, so I'm going to cook like my mom did, which means we don't normally use a recipe. So I'm going to turn my pan on to medium-high heat, which on my gas stove is about a 6 or 7. And I'm going to pour some vegetable oil, probably a half a cup, because I'm going to make quite a bit of chili for this 2 pounds or 4 pounds of chicken. So as that heats up, I've got my red chili here that I get. Keep it in an airtight jar. And my flour. And while that's heating, I'm going to grab a measuring cup. So even though I don't measure a lot of things or guesstimate, I do have measuring cups. So got these at the I think it was the Dollar Tree, and they're Betty Crocker's, and they seem to work pretty well. So that's heating up. I am going to scoop in heaping 1/4 cups of flour. So I'm going to do 2 to start out with. And once that starts to heat up, I will add my chili. And then I'll know if I need to add more oil to my mix. So some of the spices that I'm going to use, because I want a smooth chili, I'm not going to actually put onions in. I'm going to put the onion powder and garlic powder, and then cumin, and of course salt and pepper. So I'm browning my flour, and it looks good. So I'm going to add 2 scoops, 2 4-cup scoops of the red chili. I usually do equal parts of chili to flour. Seems to be a good combination. Ooh, that's a big chunk. All right. So get this all stirred in. And it's going to be a paste. I don't want it too thick. But I do want my chili to brown and get a really good smelling aroma to it before I do anything else. So it's kind of clumping, as you can see. So I'm going to add a little more oil to my pan. This is a wonderful, huge pan that I got at Big Lots. And I love it, except for the handles they get. Even though they look like they have a rubberized handle that it's covered, boy, I'll tell you, that sucker gets hot. So I'm going to have to get a pot holder to hold that steady. So this is exactly the texture I'm looking for. So now I'm going to add my spices. Need to move that a little bit. So I have some onion powder here, and I'm just going to shake it in there. And then some garlic powder. And I like to put it in so that it kind of cooks down with the chili as well. In my opinion, there's never enough garlic, so, you know, it's your discretion how much you put in. And then the cumin. And I guess that's about a teaspoon. So I'm going to mix this up. Gosh, it smells wonderful. Smell all those spices. And if you notice, I haven't put salt and pepper in yet because I'm going to wait till I actually get the chicken broth in there. So I'm going to get some chicken broth. And I'll probably use 2 containers just because I plan on making quite a bit of chili. So we'll start with 1 and see how that goes and see what the texture is like. And you want to continuously stir it so you don't get lumps. You can also switch to a whisk, which I think I'm about to do here, just to incorporate everything. And I'm going to turn this way down while I'm adding the liquid. I get my chicken broth at Sam's, and it's the member mark. And my family enjoys it. We like the taste of it. But use whatever your favorite broth is. I can really feel the consistency now with the whisk. Needs to really thin out before I bring it back up. I can feel some of it sticking together. So I'm going to continue stirring with my whisk. Okay, as it cooks, it's going to thicken, so I'm not going to add any more broth until I see how much it's going to thicken, to know how much more broth I'm going to need to add in there. And I'm not going to put any chicken in until I get the right consistency. The chicken will soak up a lot of the chili, so I want to make sure that I have plenty to go, because what this recipe is corn tortillas. I'm going to layer corn tortillas with cheddar cheese and this chicken chili mixture. And then I'll bake it, and that's really all there is to it. I bake it at 350 for about 30 to 40 minutes, just because when I shared this recipe with my brother, he added black beans and rice to the recipe because he likes to save on dishes, and he also likes to save on pots and pans to clean up. And so he basically had a one-pot meal. When I make this recipe, I have the beans and the rice on the side. That's just our preference, but just to give you a little bit of something else that you can do with this recipe. So now I've got it where everything is totally mixed together here. It's all married well, and I'm turning up the heat to bring it to a boil. So I will leave it alone for a minute until it gets there. And then I'll decide if and how much more chicken broth I'm going to need. So to help it come to a boil, because I have my kitchen window open, I'm going to cover it just to seal the heat in. All right, let's take a look. See how it's doing. Good. It has thickened up. So I am going to add some more broth to it. Stay. Turn the heat down a little bit. How do you keep it from splattering? I don't know. Oh, there we go. I'm going to thin it way down. So I added probably 3/4 of this 32-ounce container of chicken broth. And I can still feel some thicker areas here. So I'm going to add the rest. And again, before I add my chicken, I'm going to let it come to a boil just to get a feel of the consistency. So, again, I will cover it and see what happens. I'll turn it up and we'll see the texture in a minute. All right, let's stir it and see what the consistency is. I like it. So, set this down. And I'm going to add my chicken. So now that I'm adding the chicken, I may need to season it some more. So we'll see after I get it in and it cooks down a little bit. I'm out of breath because I'm multitasking. Today is laundry day as well. So I'm trying to do a little bit of everything before I have to go to work tomorrow. My hands a quick little rinse. I know today's supposed to be a day of rest. I did go to church, and I have to do everything today because yesterday was my do-nothing day. My husband is off fishing for the weekend. He'll be back today. And so now I got to catch up since I lazed around yesterday. So I'm going to let that come to a simmer. And it smells delicious. It really does. You could even just eat this chili with beans and rice and have a meal like that. We've done that many times. Just giving this a little stir. The consistency is perfect. I had left the sauce a little bit thin, knowing that the chicken would fill in. I don't want it too thick. I want it just right. So I'm going to get a spoon to check it, to taste it, and see how much salt and pepper I'm going to need to add to it. And then I'm going to grate my cheese. Oh my gosh. That's delicious. It needs very little salt. So I'm going to grab my salt shaker. I'm not going to add pepper to it because it has a nice bite going on. And I'll let it cook while I grate my cheese. All right, so I've got a piece of wax paper and my handy dandy little grater here. And my block of sharp cheddar cheese. So I'm just going to grate it till I get through the whole block. So I'm not going to bore you with this. I'll stop the video for a bit and come back to you once I have it all grated. Okay, so I'm going to use my Pyrex baking dish, and I'm using this one because it has a lid, and I'm going to freeze this. I'm not going to eat this for dinner tonight. So this will be one of our throughout the week meals. So I'm going to spray it with some original Pam. And I will turn my chili off, and I'm going to bring it over here so that I can work in and make layers. So let me make room, get a trivet. Ooh, the wind kicked up. Okay. So I'm going to bring this over to the counter and try to fit all this in my picture frame here. Let's hope. And I'll get a ladle because I'm going to put some of the chili on the very bottom. I'm not going to put any of the chicken, just some of the juice. All right. And then I'm going to layer it with my corn tortillas. And I use Candy's corn tortillas. They started out in Pueblo, Colorado. So, and that's where I'm from, so I like using homegrown stuff. It has changed names since, but to me it's still Pueblo. All right, so some of these I'm going to break in half just to put, just to make them fit a little better, I think. I don't think some, I think most. And I am going to layer them over each other, like so. I'll put one big round one in the center. And now I'm going to put some cheese. We love cheese in this household. There's not much we don't like in this household, if you've noticed from my videos. So now I'm going to pour this chicken over it. This is going to be a real meaty casserole. 4 pounds of chicken, I should say. All right, so now I'm going to put some more corn tortillas down. This time I'm going to do a little bit different. I want to make sure it's all covered this time. Last time there were bits that didn't have corn on them. So I'm going to do my best to cover all this. Just because I love the flavor of corn tortillas. And I want to make sure that it's covering this. Okay, this time I'm going to put the chicken on before the cheese because I want to end with the cheese. Gosh, this is such a pretty dish. It really is. Make sure all my tortillas are covered. All right, so now I'm going to put some more cheese on. I'm going to make sure it covers every inch of this casserole. My dog Noah is waiting on the floor. I never have to worry about having to sweep up any food that I might drop because he's usually on it. Another good reason to use wax paper. Oop, Noah, you're missing some, pumpkin. Clean up the floor. All right, this looks delicious. So before I put the lid on to put it in the freezer, I'm going to let it cool off. So I'll just set it aside. I hope you give this a try and hope you subscribe to our Cooking Cronies YouTube channel. We enjoy coming to you every week, or we try to come to you every week from our kitchens. Vicki and I so enjoy cooking and being with you all. You know, we're friends. Vicki and I are good friends, and our families do a lot together. We go camping together, we vacation together, and we cook together, and we pray together. So I wish you all a blessed day. Take care, keep in good health, and God bless.